So there's some discomfort in the urinary region. Okay, some discomfort in the breast because all those organs are now being supplied with more blood flow. So a woman is very, kind of aware of her body. These are the early. A lot of people neglect nowadays is sleep. Because sleep is one time when the entire body, what is toxic to you is going to be toxic to the
More toxic probably.
yeah, because our environment, right? It may be the food you eat, or the thoughts that you accumulate, right? Or the thoughts leading to certain emotions that you have in your body are going to change the genes. Okay, so that is called. I think a pregnant woman's love for a baby is the most selfless kind of love that exists. So many new products are coming into the market, and we are not sure of what effects they are.
I think you mentioned one thing, plant-based diet, preferable.
Yes.
Are you also, that means you should avoid non-vegetarian during these days? So people who are not.
See, basically during the
Hello and namaste to all my beautiful pregnant friends and couples who are planning pregnancy, their supporting partners. A very warm welcome to you all once again into our latest podcast today. I'm Sonia Pava, your friend and guide again from 9 and Beyond Your Holistic Pregnancy app. As promised, we have one more expert on our panel today, and we're very honored to have today with us Dr. Dipali Prabhat. And Dr. Dipali Prabhat, a very, very warm welcome to you. And it is a great pleasure to have you here. And in her honor, I would like the audience to know that she has 25 years of absolutely incredible clinical practice behind her. She has her own nursing home. She has studied from very prestigious colleges like KEM and GS Medical College, and is also right now an honorary consultant at Raheja Fortis and Bhatia Hospital. Besides that, she has done her master's in population sciences and is also a lifestyle medicine expert, studying from the Lifestyle Medicine College of America. And Dr. Dipali, we are so happy to have you here for our audience.
Thank you so much.
Your expert advice so much,
Thank you so much.
So would you like to say something to them?
I'm really, so pleased to be talking to you all today. And it's so nice that you have, enrolled for this app, which is going to really change your knowledge and make you more aware about so many things that you need to know and kind of put into action when you're planning a pregnancy or during the entire period of your pregnancy.
Absolutely. I wish I was getting pregnant today with all this knowledge, which I am also gaining today.
Same here, I would share that because, I think the kind of knowledge that we have now got exposure to and the amount of scientific studies that have, kind of reinforced traditional customs. I would say that even my journey has been different from the time I became a mother, which was 30 years back.
Absolutely.
And what I know today is totally different. So I'm so glad that, you are going to have all this knowledge at your
absolutely. And I hope you beautiful women realize how blessed you are to have a combination of your traditional knowledge and your modern sciences put in together today to have an amazing journey and enjoy your pregnancy as much as you can. Okay, so Doctor, to begin with, let's see, जैसे एक lady है जो realize करती है वो pregnant होती है, so what are these early stages जिसमें what are these early fetal developments which happen in the first few weeks? Because I think this is one thing which all women want to understand. And what are the changes which come in their body so that they're aware and they can take care of themselves accordingly?
So, before we talk about pregnancy, we have to really a little bit connect with the menstrual cycle.
Right.
Okay, so a woman becomes capable of becoming pregnant as soon as her menstrual cycle starts. Not that it doesn't mean that her body is ready.
Right.
But the reproductive system starts releasing an egg every month and prepares for a pregnancy during that month. And if there is no pregnancy happening, then the lining which develops gets shed and we call it as the menstrual period.
Right.
So from the moment the egg gets released, which is also called as ovulation, it is followed by fertilization.
Right.
And the fertilization is followed by a process called implantation, where the fertilized egg, it connects to the lining of the uterus.
Right.
And then the pregnancy starts growing. So the commonest thing that we experience, which the patient tells us, is that my period has not come. Because
That's the most common one.
that is absolutely the most common. Because so to know about the pregnancy, we should start from the time when the fertilization happens. So usually, if we consider the last menstrual period, the ovulation or the egg release happens about 2 weeks after that.
Right.
And after that, the fertilization happens and followed by the implantation. So when the implantation is happening, the baby is just like a ball of cells, and it gets deeply embedded into the lining of the uterus, and then we say, okay, the woman is pregnant. And this is followed by rapid division of the cells. So by the time she actually realizes that she is pregnant, the baby is just a small ball.
Okay.
And thereafter the growth starts. So as far as the fetal development goes, in the first week, it kind of just forms like a brain and the hind part of it. And by the end of 1.5 months or 6 weeks, you can visualize the heart beating in the baby. So that is as far as how the fetus develops in the early stages.
Okay.
In the mother's body starts rapidly adapting to the pregnancy. So now there is another organ, which is the placenta, which is going to grow, and the baby is going to grow. So the circulatory system has to expand to give the nourishment. So earliest changes happen in the blood circulation. So the heart starts beating a little faster.
Okay.
And there is little extra circulation, and that would give rise to certain signs that we see in pregnancy. So every system will start coping. May it be the circulatory system, the digestive system, everything starts adapting towards, nurturing the baby, which is within the
Okay. Okay. So keeping that in mind, see, like nausea is a very common thing which I think we all are aware of.
Yeah.
So what are these symptoms? Because you're clearly specifying that there are a lot of changes which a woman will feel. So what are those symptoms which or signs which come with early stages of pregnancy?
Yeah. So first thing that most women would come to us is that they have missed a period.
Right.
Okay, so so naturally whenever the egg is released, if there is no pregnancy happening, the lining gets shed and the period comes. Now, if there is a pregnancy, then the lining will keep on growing and form the placenta, which is going to nourish the baby. So that's the commonest thing that we come with. Now, the symptoms depend really on what state of, physical and mental and emotional state the woman is when she is pregnant. Okay, so many times this nausea symptom, which is chemically it is related to a pregnancy hormone, which is beta-HCG. As the levels rise, there is a bit of nausea with that. But there is also a theory where it is kind of whether the woman is well, connected to the thought of being pregnant.
Okay.
So nausea it signifies kind of a rejection.
Oh.
So if you're not emotionally connected with that idea, you will try to. So nausea rejects something from the body. And also it is a protective mechanism for the baby so that the woman doesn't take anything which is toxic inside. So it's another way of, like a woman will reject many foods because maybe they are not good for the woman when she's pregnant. So that is another kind of explanation.
When she looks at it,
for the
she doesn't feel
nausea.
like having it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a lot of emotional connect behind all these symptoms. So a person who has planned a pregnancy, is expecting it, is well tuned, may not experience nausea at all. That is,
I wish I was aware of this.
that is a
Because,
possibility.
yeah, that whole idea of your thought process is rejecting the pregnancy is like, yeah. So I hope you all beautiful.
So it's not
ladies
like
realize this
rejection, but
important
it's somewhere
point. Yeah.
subconsciously to that you're not
exactly.
yet,
Yeah.
comfortable with that idea, or that is
But see,
another
this
thing.
is so knowledgeable to understand for a woman who's planning her pregnancy or is already pregnant, because your emotional state can actually control your symptoms and lead you toward a better this health and journey, like, which is more enjoyable. Like, absolutely. Like, this is an amazing.
Yeah. So the other thing which happens, which I said, that the circulatory system is expanding. So there is more blood flow to all the organs, especially in the reproductive organs. So there's some discomfort in the urinary region. Okay. Some discomfort in the breast, because all those organs are now being supplied with more blood flow. So a woman is very, kind of aware of her body. These are the early signs that she can make out, like, that breast tingling, a little bit discomfort in the vagina. And of course, many of the other signs, the doctor would diagnose them by during examination.
Right.
So, and of course, other thing is that because now there is an extra load on the system, tiredness or feeling fatigued, that is a common symptom in early pregnancy. Okay. So usually the first few weeks, these are the things that we see more commonly.
And are they also related to the hormonal changes which are happening in the body?
Yes, hormonal changes also, because as the pregnancy needs to grow, there is a hormone called as progesterone, right? Okay, the secretions, suddenly the levels are very high, and the uterus needs to relax, all the smooth muscles relax. Right. So that kind of accommodates the pregnancy. Also, the immune system needs to, take a back seat, because we know that the baby is half coming from the paternal side. Right. So it is like a foreign body in the mother's body. So the immune system also goes little low to accept the pregnancy. So there are a lot of hormonal changes happening to adapt, and they can give rise to some of the symptoms.
And like you use the word implantation of the baby, right? That reminds me, very recently we've come across this word which we read more often now, is the implantation bleeding. So what exactly is that? Because I never heard of it in my time, so what exactly is that, doctor?
Yeah. So what happens is, after the egg gets fertilized, it moves through the fallopian tube, and then it comes into the uterine cavity.
Right.
And there is the lining which is there, and then the embryo has to implant or get buried into it.
True.
Okay, so when this process is happening, sometimes some blood vessels can open up, and during that implantation, there may be some blood loss happening. It is not very common. It happens in less than 1/4 of the cases.
Okay.
And so that is something which a woman needs to be aware of and not panic suddenly.
Exactly.
There is a slight loss of blood. At the same time, of course, you have to be vigilant, and it is better to communicate with your doctor whatever symptoms you have.
That is the whole idea of letting you know this thing, that these are the things which should not scare you. You should just know that you need to turn to a doctor, and just to empower you with this knowledge that this is something normal, though rare, right?
Absolutely.
So, doctor, and so now that considering, somebody is pregnant, how reliable are these home tests?
So, all these home tests or the blood tests detect a hormone called as beta HCG, or beta human chorionic gonadotropin, and this is secreted by the embryo.
Okay.
And the blood detects about 50 international units of, the urine detects about 50 international units level of that hormone. And that is why generally when the urine tests are done, we say you try to use the first urine sample, because then it's most concentrated.
Right.
But by the time it reaches that level, it may be, just before missing a period, or few days, 4-5 days after missing the period, the level would reach to that unit. So typically the beta HCG would double every 48 hours.
Okay.
That's how it is. And it keeps on increasing till about 2.5 months of pregnancy, and thereafter that level goes down. Most accurate would be to do a blood test and find out the beta HCG level. So that is the most accurate thing. So if sometimes it's possible that the level in urine is less, and the pregnancy test may show negative.
Okay.
And if you do it after a few days, then it can show positive. I would say they are reasonably reliable. Only if you're doing it too early, then it may show a false negative. False positives are not very, very common, because, of course, there are certain conditions where this beta HCG is secreted, like in a tumor and things like that. There we can get a false positive, but it's extremely rare.
So what is the time frame you would recommend that one should do this pregnancy home test? Like, how many days of missing the period?
Yeah.
So generally, people will tend to do it the very second day or maybe the third day.
Yeah. So sometimes it can come positive even if you get like in the second, third day. But I think it's safe to wait for a week.
A week.
Surely 1 week. And this is, of course, assuming that the cycles are regular and we are looking at, the ovulation happening mid-cycle, like at 15 days. And we are calculating everything depending on that. Now, if the cycles of the woman are irregular and we would have expected a ovulation would be later and a fertilization later, then that may not be the most ideal time to check. Because if the pregnancy is smaller, so the beta HCG will start secreting only after the implantation happens.
True.
So for the level to reach that, it takes about a week, 10 days. So accordingly, it depends on. So this is true for a woman who has regular cycles, like a 28-day cycle.
Perfect.
If the cycles are delayed or earlier, then, you may do it earlier or later.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed. So considering, okay, now a lady realizes that she's pregnant, and these are the these are the people who are already pregnant, right? Sometimes there are couples, and in today's time where the couples are so knowledgeable and they are so in tune towards everything, they plan their pregnancies, which is such a right thing to do actually. Like, what are the lifestyle habits and basically changes you would want them to adapt to have a healthy pregnancy if they're planning one?
Yeah, I think this is the most important question of the entire podcast, because I think just like when you grow a plant, the soil is equally important as much as the seed and as much as the environment, like the watering, the manure, whatever, that will totally, decide how the plant is going to grow. So same is for our human body. So first, before planning a pregnancy, we have to see that you're giving the best environment for the baby to grow. So the body is not only the physical body, it also consists of your mind, your emotions. So you have to look at all these aspects. So let me start with the physical aspect of the body, how to prepare for a pregnancy. So you would try to be at your optimal level of health before you plan a pregnancy. Suppose you have any pre-existing conditions and you're on any medications, you would like those to be, you would like to plan the pregnancy and, put appropriate things in place.
True.
So after having done that, as far as our usual routine daily habits, which are very important, is of course nutrition. Right? So what you put into your body is very, very important.
Right.
In that, I would say that it is very important to eat food that is given by nature in the form which is minimally processed.
Right.
So it's best to avoid all types of packaged and processed products which have a lot of chemicals, preservatives, things like that. Balanced diet, everybody knows. So a a mix of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, healthy fats especially, and lots of fruits, vegetables, whole grains. So if you keep the diet simple and wholesome, I think that is very, very good. Other thing is that we need to be physically active, because it's not that, if you're planning a pregnancy or you become pregnant, suddenly you're going to become sedentary. No. Nowadays, we say that you please be very physically fit before pregnancy, and you can continue those exercises or whatever you're doing pre-pregnancy throughout your pregnancy.
Absolutely.
So all humans need to move. We need that, an hour of physical activity, good combination of aerobic as well as some strength training as well as some flexibility exercises. That's where yoga plays a big part. Other thing which I realize a lot of people neglect nowadays is sleep. Because sleep is one time when the entire body is going to repair itself. So whatever we are using on the day-to-day basis, basically God has given sleep for that purpose. Yeah. And we should not neglect it. We all need 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And we do need it according to the circadian rhythm. That means it has to be according to, the sunrise, sunset kind of timings. So we need that sleep between say 10:30, 11 in the night latest to about 5:30, 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So these three are very, very crucial. Of course, if you're planning a pregnancy, there's no need to tell that you need to avoid anything that is toxic to your body, because what is toxic to you is going to be toxic to the
More
baby.
toxic, probably.
Yeah, so all forms of alcohol, tobacco, any other substances which we know that, would be harmful, that should be avoided.
Absolutely.
So, and not the least is the stress. I feel we look at everything and everything may be perfect. But if you have stress of any kind, it may be physical, mental, emotional, we need to address it.
Yeah.
And we need to, first take care of ourselves. So, all you ladies who are planning a pregnancy, please look at yourself first. How you feel, whether you feel fit physically, mentally, are you in a good place?
Bring a new soul into your life.
Absolutely, yeah. And emotionally also, that you are mentally well prepared and emotionally prepared to, nurture this pregnancy and, take care of the baby.
Right.
So all these things, if you plan well in advance, then I don't see any reason that, you would have... pregnancy is like, another aspect of your part of your life.
Absolutely.
So it's not at all like a disease process.
Doctor, we had one session with Acharya, which was a holistic point of view on pregnancy and Garh Sanskar, jo hamara app hai. You were saying exactly the same scientific things, which he put in a beautiful capsule of 3 words: Ahar, Vichar, and Vyavhar.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was so beautiful put, and you exactly said, which means कि हमारे जो पुराने संस्कार हैं और हमारी जो knowledge है, even the new science is saying exactly this.
There are so many scientific studies now are validating all these things.
Absolutely.
How important it's, and then we connecting it to the genetic level, because our environment, it may be the food you eat, or the thoughts that you accumulate, right? Or the thoughts leading to certain emotions that you have in your body are going to change the genes. Okay, so that is called as epigenetic.
Right.
So that is why we have to stress a lot on all these
emotion and well-being. Your emotional well-being is like very...
And as much as it's important for your baby, it's also equally important for yourself.
Absolutely.
For your own health and for your own longevity and for your good quality of life.
Right.
So I think it's a beautiful opportunity for you to change certain habits which you knew, I mean, somewhere deep in your mind that this is not good for you.
Yeah.
But you're not motivated enough to change it.
Yeah.
But this, planning a pregnancy, because I think a pregnant woman's love for a baby is the most selfless kind of love that exists. So she will do anything for the baby, and that's a very instinctive thing.
Yeah.
And this is an opportunity to put all those things right.
Right.
Which is eventually, of course, is going to usually benefit the baby, but it will benefit you as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think in today's time, we don't say a lady is pregnant. We say the couple is pregnant. So it applies absolutely to the supporting partner also. All these logic.
I think everything which I've told about the woman
applies to the couple.
100%. Yeah. Because it's a unit. Finally, it's a family unit. So the father has to be equally participating. Even though biologically, of course, we have a higher role to play in reproduction. But I think it's the relationship between the couple.
Yeah.
Because eventually, whatever, habits they inculcate in day-to-day life depends on the emotional connect. If both the husband and wife are into fitness,
absolutely,
both of them will, take care of their physical health.
Yeah.
If they are going to eat the similar kind of food, which is healthy for both. And definitely, I think the quality of the egg or the sperm is affected by all this.
Yeah.
So I think, before
and
pregnancy also,
level, your fetus is going to get stimulated towards all this, what it is absorbed
and
from the
what is
environment.
even the mental and emotional makeup of the male partner is equally important.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, the male partner also should want to have that pregnancy as much as the woman wants it. So that connect needs to be there.
Absolutely.
Which is sometimes largely ignored. Like, the entire focus is only on the woman.
Yeah.
I think the male should be, participating right from planning the pregnancy, throughout the pregnancy, trying.
The new generation is very fortunate.
It is.
I mean, the couples are really into it together, which is such a beautiful thing.
And it's a wonderful thing for the baby to,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, coming to nutrition, which is such an important part of our life as whole, but especially when a woman is pregnant. What are the initial recommendations you suggest for a pregnant woman in the initial days to have a very healthy pregnancy journey?
Correct. So there's one supplement which we start for all women who are planning a pregnancy. It's folic acid. Okay, it's a part of a B group of vitamins.
Okay.
And it's known that a deficiency of folic acid can affect the development of the neural tube in the baby.
Okay.
So that is one supplement. Of course, all women are recommended to be taking it, preferably a month in advance before they plan the pregnancy. If they haven't taken it, then it's good enough to start it as soon as they realize they are pregnant and continue it in the first 3 months of pregnancy.
Okay.
As far as the diet is concerned, as I already said, it is good to eat a predominantly plant-based diet, which is whole in nature, so minimally processed. So whatever we cook at home, or it is better to eat something that comes from plants than what is made in a plant, is what we say, what is made in a factory.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a beautiful sentence, which is coming from the plant and not made in a plant.
Yeah, so typically whatever the packaged food industry is commercially driven, it is made to make foods which can have a longer shelf life, and they do have a lot of preservatives and certain chemicals which are foreign to our body. We haven't, because the diets have changed so rapidly in the last 500 to 1,000 years, and our human body has not evolved that much. So we don't have so many studies, because we always have a lot of studies on medicines.
Right.
But we never study the food, different kinds of foods that are being churned out daily so many new products are coming into the market. And we are not sure of what effects they are having. So I would suggest all pregnant women and their partners, please read the food labels when you pick up any packaged food. And if any of those ingredients are not easily available in your kitchen, then please avoid them. Yes.
Okay.
Please avoid them. So anything which is like scientific sounding, anything is a no-no.
Okay.
So I think that is how you can.
That's a great guideline.
Yeah.
आपके kitchen में नहीं है,
नहीं
इस पैकेट पे नहीं है तो छोड़ दीजिए.
तो वो मत लेना.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And of course, we want to avoid all sorts of infections and things like that during pregnancy. We don't want to take medicines during the early weeks of, when the baby is developing. So it's good to eat well-cooked or raw food, whatever, which is, it's hygienically prepared. Okay. So I think if you have a balanced meals, which has a good combination of whole grains, pulses, lots of vegetables and fruit, seasonal, locally available, that will be the best. Lots of, you can have as many spices as you want, good fats in the form of nuts and seeds or cold pressed oils.
Okay.
Preferably if you can get organic produce, it is well and good, but whatever. And if you like animal based foods,
right,
you try to take not too much of it,
right,
but which is more fresh, rather than something which is processed or frozen or things like that.
Okay.
So I think that is the kind of diet that I would recommend pre-pregnancy as well as during the entire pregnancy.
True. Yeah. Because I think nutrition plays a huge role.
I think it is very, 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 very
It's one of the most important aspects of life.
Absolutely. Most important. I mean, much more than the supplements we give, because the body takes, the particular micronutrient much better in the form of food compared to something which is like given chemically.
And if you have specific issues like, God forbid, you have diabetes or you have thyroid or you have other, so for that also you should take into consideration, consult your doctor and your nutritionist and plan your diet
precisely what I was asking. That before you plan a pregnancy, if you're on certain chronic medication, some person could be a diabetic, could be having hypothyroid, somebody may have epilepsy, whatever. Certain medications have to be changed when you are planning a pregnancy. Certain things, there may be a small risk of complications that can happen which you need to be aware of.
Absolutely.
But there are many medications which are allowed during pregnancy. So you need not, put your health on the back foot. You can have both together. And you can, there are so many tests that we do to, confirm that everything is going proper on track.
Right.
So there's no need to fear now. It's just that you have to be aware and, take all the necessary
And take all the help which you need, which you should, right?
Absolutely.
So coming to a pregnant lady and her nutritional needs we've taken care of. Like again, though it's again a repeated question, because that earlier we spoke about how important the emotional stress and the well-being is important to deal with.
Yeah.
Now somebody is already pregnant. Now for a pregnant woman, how do you recommend in the first few days, how does she deal, God forbid, if there is an emotional stress or there's an issue of an emotional well-being? So how does one take care now that you're already pregnant?
Yeah.
What would you recommend?
So when a woman becomes pregnant, one knows that she's pregnant. It may be a sudden thing for some. It may be planned. Yeah. So I mean, it will have some kind of an emotional, turmoil inside the mind. The best part is to share it with a near loved one. Okay? Maybe your partner, maybe a friend, your mother. So communication is very, very important, because you may not be able to process all emotions by yourself.
Right.
Okay, so that is why we say when we plan, we have to take care of our whatever, backlog of emotional thing which is already there. We need to sort it out before we are planning a pregnancy. But if it doesn't happen as planned, then at least sort it out. If the last person would be definitely your healthcare provider. So if you're not comfortable with talking to any near one, please share it with your doctor, and they will definitely help you how to, take care of the emotion. But it needs to be dealt with.
It should
You cannot push it under the carpet.
Yeah, at this stage especially, because the imprints are going to be adapted by
Absolutely. Because the baby is, the entire thing, as I was explaining to you, the epigenetics is also so much of emotions also.
Absolutely.
So you need to take care of it on a daily basis. Of course, I think in that our traditional yoga, meditation, chanting, and all these things are, they play a big role in taking care of your emotional health.
Right.
And we should use all these methods to do so and take care of it, as it comes.
Yeah.
And not kind of neglect it in any manner. We lay a lot of stress on diet, but this is equally important.
I think sometimes in today's environment, probably more important.
Yeah, isn't absolutely, because we are living in a environment with so much demands on the woman. Apart from her being, she would also be a career woman.
Exactly.
She may have a lot of responsibilities that she's nurturing, and now this is an additional thing. So you have to, of course, prioritize things. Put some things on a back burner. Delegate some of your duties to other people. Don't feel guilty. Women feel always guilty about making somebody else do something which you kind of feel, no, I should have done that. Yeah, I think you should just need to keep it aside. Now that you have taken a new role as a mother to be, I think we have to prioritize your own health and your babies, and kind of, let go of certain responsibilities, because otherwise you will be overwhelmed. Absolutely. And I think that's very important.
So take as much support as you need.
Absolutely.
Don't hesitate at all.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with it. 90% of the people are having it.
And
so don't feel you're the only one. Don't be ashamed of it.
Absolutely.
So that you can be open about it.
Yeah.
Take support as much as, and I think communication is the best way of throwing out, like, you know how nausea throws out your bad food?
Absolutely.
I think your emotional outburst throws out all the toxins in your body, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Very, very important. And at the end of the day, your self-care, self-compassion, self-nurturing, self-love is so important. Because if you are in that state of happiness, you are directly going to, put that out to your baby.
Absolutely. And it's such a beautiful phase of life. So, that is true. Yeah. And I hope all these young mothers to be and the ones who are planning their pregnancy and their supporting partners are listening to all this and realizing that, I mean, as simple, it is simple, yet it is very, very important. We can keep it simple, giving it all the importance it needs.
Right. Your basic fundamentals have to be right.
Right.
Then, smaller details like whether you should have green tea or whether you should have a particular supplement, those are not that important as much as your basics are. Take care of your physical health by simple things. Take care of your mental health because which is all dependent on your thoughts.
Absolutely.
And I feel we can control our thoughts. There are so many methods of doing it. Be aware of those methods which are, whatever works for you, you can use that.
Absolutely.
Take care of your emotions. If you do all that, then this entire journey will be very, very fulfilling.
Very healthy, fulfilling, and beautiful, and safe. And safe as well. Now, you mentioned one thing, plant-based diet, preferable.
Yes.
Are you also, that means you should avoid non-vegetarian during these days? So people who are not...
See, basically during the early periods of pregnancy, the baby is very small, okay? And your entire system is changing, digestive system. So it's better to use foods which are easy to digest.
Okay.
Yes,
Just on that basis.
Certainly, plant-based foods are easier to digest. And most commonly, women will say, okay, I can eat only this and only that. So I would say, okay, stick to that. You don't have to, sometimes the moment you're pregnant, everybody says, now you start eating very high protein, you eat an egg every day, you drink few glasses of milk every day. And the woman just can't take it. So I don't think you need to force anything down. The body is your best, companion, and it will tell you what it can take and what it can't take. So don't get overwhelmed by all that. So try to eat what you can digest easily, what you are liking, especially in the first few weeks. And thereafter, of course, you need good sources of protein. And from animal-based products are superior quality of protein. But also we have to keep in mind there are a lot of antibiotics, hormones being pumped into the products that you are getting now. So what we spoke of the milk or the meat, in older times, we are not getting the same quality. So I would be a little overcautious and not take too much of it.
Yeah.
You like it, of course, couple of times a week. Fish is very healthy. You can take it. Milk products like yogurt is very healthy. Good probiotic. You can take it. So I think, but we also have enough foods in the plants kingdom, which is like a lot of legumes, pulses, which are also rich in proteins and the fiber. The main thing what is not there in animal products is the fiber, which is there only in plants.
Okay.
And your fiber is basically food to your gut bacteria.
Okay.
We are hearing a lot about the microbiome and the gut bacteria and how it influences your entire health. So having a high fiber diet, which is of course more in plants, that is the reason why I was stressing on a predominantly plant-based diet. So you could have your animal product also, but also eat a lot of vegetables and fruits and daals along with it. Don't go for
Now, this is like that is the only thing. Yeah, that's why I said let me clarify this because don't want to put anybody off के खा ही नहीं सकते क्या कर सकते
बिल्कुल खा सकते and it also like even the requirement as far as the baby concerned it changes.
Exactly.
Because the first 3 months, okay, you don't need to eat a lot more than you would eat in a pre-pregnant state. Then after the 5th month, as then the muscles of the baby build, the bones build up, then you need to have a protein-rich diet. And then towards the end of pregnancy, the baby fat comes up, so you need to have a little fat-rich diet. So and those things are important.
Absolutely.
So you have to eat accordingly.
Perfect. So, doctor, also while we're talking about all this thought came to my mind that, in the early stages of pregnancy, what are these red flags or so-called symptoms one should be just have knowledge and awareness of that they need medical attention? Sometimes we don't know. And in our ignorance, हम लोग अपने आप को नुकसान पहुंचा सकते हैं. Just from that point of view.
So as I said, commonly the first sight of a pregnancy is missing a period. But it may not be always so, okay? You may be pregnant and you may still get a period, okay? So that basically is because the uterine cavity is not completely full of the fetus for everyone in the early pregnancy. So sometimes women can bleed like a regular period, maybe slightly smaller and not realize they are pregnant. True. That is one thing. So if you have any signs and, you're still getting a period, it's good to check whether you're pregnant or not. The other thing, as I explained, is implantation bleeding. So you may have a kind of irregular spotting. And of course, you don't get the period, but this spotting may happen. It could be implantation bleeding, but there is another condition which is called as an ectopic pregnancy. So instead of the pregnancy, getting implanted inside the uterus, sometimes the pregnancy can get trapped in the tube, fallopian tube, or into the ovary. Now, this is an abnormal pregnancy, and it is basically can become dangerous to the woman's health. So if there is any kind of irregular bleeding happening, and then I think you need to consult the doctor and rule out an ectopic pregnancy. The third thing, which is that you might get some cramp-like pain. So typically when you get a period, there are certain cramps that are associated. It's the uterus trying to throw out the menstrual blood. Similar cramps can happen when the woman is pregnant. So sometimes it's normal, and it may not always lead to a miscarriage, but sometimes it can. So we call it as a threatened miscarriage. So that time certain hormonal supplements we need to start. So if you get any kind of discomfort in the lower abdomen, like you are experiencing when you get a period and you are pregnant, then you need to definitely see the doctor. Other the symptom that a woman who has an ectopic pregnancy would get is like a sharp pain on a particular side of the abdomen. So suppose there is a pregnancy caught up in the left tube, then the woman might just get a sharp pain. Then that can kind of sensitize you that, okay, it may be something abnormal. Another symptom rarely can be like blackouts. Like, suddenly you feel everything is going black, dark. That is another complaint which is associated with ectopic pregnancy. So whenever we see any woman in early pregnancy, the doctors also have to think ectopic. So if we have ectopic in mind, then we accordingly investigate and rule it out. But these are the common early pregnancy symptoms or red flags that you need to, keep in mind and communicate. Not, say that, okay, this kind of pain is normal and it can happen. It's better to confirm everything, because initial diagnosis is usually by the urine test or the blood test. But the sonography, generally we delay to, after 6 to 7 weeks, because we like to see the heartbeat. So we don't do it earlier than that. But if certain red flags like this exist, then we need to do sonography earlier. We need to do some blood testing earlier. So those are things that we need to, have some knowledge.
Basically, anything which is out of turn, any kind of pain, one should be aware of. And not take it lightly.
And any kind of abnormal bleeding. It could be normal, as I said, it could be normal, but it can be abnormal.
Down. Absolutely. So I think that is like very important to understand in the first few weeks. That's why we say it's a very delicate phase during the first few weeks of pregnancy is like an absolute. Anything else, doctor, which you would like these young mothers to be, or the ones who plan the pregnancy, to really watch out for?
I would say that if you've planned the pregnancy, you're already on a journey, you're already taken care of diet, you're physically fit. There is no particular need to change anything during the early pregnancy, what your body is used to. But once you become pregnant, we don't suggest to start a new fitness routine, Then the first 3 months of pregnancy, we kind of take it easy, because the body doesn't need any extra shocks. Already it is under a load of pregnancy. Then, of course, definitely physical activity is very, very important during pregnancy. Even if you've not been physically active before, we will slowly guide you into a physically active routine. But that is one thing I would say. And, of course, avoidance of substances is what we have to be vigilant about, because that is, young generation, it works hard and it parties harder.
Absolutely.
Few things, of course, pregnancy itself, will make you avoid these things, but I think those things we have to be little mindful about. And last, not the least, is the stress. So just take care of your everyday stress. You have to learn to handle it on a daily basis. Not let it accumulate. because it's something which, if you're not aware of, it's like a psychosomatic thing.
Right.
So you will start experiencing some physical symptoms, not realizing that it's because of a background of stress, which has not been addressed. So I think when you're planning the pregnancy, also start having a system whereby you address your daily stresses
Yeah.
on a daily basis.
Which is probably a great advice for every human being who is watching this,
Yes.
pregnant, not pregnant,
Yes.
wanting to get pregnant. This is something I think on a day-to-day basis in today's competitive environment and the way the world is. Yeah, I think we all need to take care of it on a day-to-day basis so that we can have a healthy planning for everything else that we need to do. That's true. That is true. So thank you so much, Dr. Dipali. I think this was a very great session. For me personally, what I'm feeling is it's simple because the way you put it, very scientific and so easy to understand this journey, making it into such a pleasure, because it's like these are the general questions which I think every young person who is getting pregnant or planning pregnancy, बड़े छोटे छोटे सवाल होते हैं और आप ये पूछ भी नहीं सकते रोज डॉक्टर को जाके कि ये कैसे और वो कैसे, So this was a very nice thing, and we are really grateful that you shared this beautiful knowledge with us. And thank you very much, our beautiful audience, for being with us today. And we hope that you are enjoying our podcast, learning, adapting, and using this knowledge to the best of your abilities, because we are really enjoying this sharing of this knowledge with you all. And we sign off today till we see you again with our next expert on our panel. So all you beautiful pregnant women and the persons, all the couples who are planning the pregnancy, wishing you all safe, healthy, happy, joyful days ahead. Enjoy your pregnancy as much as you can, because ye din laut ke nahi aayenge. Take care and God bless.